Welcome to Reddit After Hours. This is r/MaliciousCompliance, where a neighbor gets so fed up with a busybody neighbor that he has his yard certified as a national wildlife reserve. Our first Reddit post comes from Scary Expert 1929, titled "Punishing Me for Underperforming for 1 day in 2 years? No problem." Background: I work at a company where I handle mid to high level complaints to managers, PR, and legal. My daily requirement is 40 cases handled per day. There are some of my team colleagues that struggle with this, but I don't. And I don't feel lazy to stop at 40, so I have handled 50 to 55 basically every day for the past 2 years. There is no bonus or even recognition for this. I just did it because I felt a friendly obligation to the company. Complaints can be a 5-minute resolution or a 2-hour Zoom call with our New York lawyers. It's a gamble, really. The event. Recently, I had a day where I felt a bit sick and at the same time had a bad luck of getting only very hard cases that required more time. So I had 39 cases handled that day, which is 1 under the requirement. I thought nothing of it as my weekly average was way off the charts, 50 plus as usual. The next day, I felt better and I went back to my usual high numbers. Come Monday, I had an emergency one-on-one with my manager where I was informed that I had to attend a 3-day workshop/seminar on how to best meet requirements because I, quote, underperformed last week. My jaw dropped. And I asked, don't they count the weekly, monthly, and yearly numbers? To which I was told that the daily requirement is 40, and this is standard practice, and there's nothing we can do. Basically, it was a workshop for underperformers who had 20 to 30 out of the 40 cases daily. It was nothing hard, but I did need to drive there for 3 days after work and listen to HR guys giving bad advice, as they never actually handled cases in real life. And I had to talk about what I will do to improve my numbers and reach 40, as they nonsense HR talks call it. This made me lose hours and hours of my free time, and I was livid. After it was over, I had a long think, and I decided that I will do exactly that. I will reach 40, and that's it. The aftermath. For the past few months, I go into work, I handle 40 cases, my daily requirement, and then I do nothing with the rest of my shift. I've had multiple one-on-ones with my manager during this time, and I'm constantly asked, is something wrong? To which I naively reply, no. Am I in trouble? Am I underperforming? And then, of course, they say that I am 100% within daily requirements, and that way I shut down the conversation. This is real life, so I can't really say a clever comeback or something like that, but I do keep, quote, playing the fool that has no idea what is wrong now. But I do find satisfaction in knowing that they got used to my overachieving and are now suffering for the lack of it. Before Easter, they put in an internal ad for promoting another 2 managers. So my guess is how that is the number of people they will now need to pay extra just because they lost me as an overachiever. And they lost me for no reason other than their own stupidity. And that's how stupid corporate America can be sometimes. Good for you, OP. You gave them exactly what they asked for. You reached 40 and you stopped. I would have done the exact same thing. Our next Reddit post comes from Tawny Fritz, titled, I had my yard certified as a national wildlife habitat to spite a busybody neighbor. Our yard is wild, and I mean that in the real definition of living or growing in the natural environment. We have no, quote, lawn. We aggressively remove and prevent invasive and noxious species of plants and ensure that what grows is native to our area and drought resistant. The wildflowers that grow are things like lupine, blue flax, spiderwort, black-eyed Susan, and sunflowers, among others. We have natural elements like driftwood logs to retain water, and we even have an elk skull in the yard to act as a shelter for critters. There are a plethora of birds, bees, bunnies, and other wildlife. More wildlife than any yard in our area, as far as I can tell. It's beautiful and alive, but definitely not a manicured lawn with perfectly cut grass and landscaping. Last summer, we got a notice from the county that our yard was in violation of some county ordinance. My husband called the number on the notice and got a very, quote, over it employee who let out a big sigh and said that he had gotten like 30 complaints from one person for the entire strip of road that we live on. Keep in mind, you can't, quote, batch report an area. You have to file reports house by house. So someone had the time and energy to pull up Google Maps and file a report for about 30 houses for overgrown weeds. I checked the county ordinance and made sure that everything we had in our yard was in compliance. Things like, quote, purposely cultivated, which our wildflowers definitely were. We planted specific species of seeds and we remove whatever's not native. None of the wild plants block any sidewalks, nor do they hang over on any other properties. Now, knowing that it was someone with way too much time on their hands, I did some reading and learned that my yard has everything needed, and then some, to qualify as a national wildlife habitat. So I filled out the form, paid the fee, and got my certificate. My husband called the county employee back who said, "Send me that certificate." He looked it over, thanked my husband for the new information that he can use in the future, and closed our case. I now have signs on my yard that announce that the property is a wildlife habitat and the birds and bees get to keep living happily in the wild. OP, I wish I could see the look on that person's face as they walk past your yard and see those signs. I would bet you that it's priceless. Our next Reddit post comes from ZZ Delmarco, titled, "I wore a suit to work and got my supervisor soft demoted." Ever since I started at my job a few months ago, my supervisor, we'll call him Josh, has been micromanaging me. When I'm the subject of criticism, which is often, I try to give him the benefit of the doubt and ask him to clarify. What are your expectations? What specifically should I have done differently? Josh's responses are always vague, often something to the effect of, just do better. I even had a meeting with Josh and HR to address this, but to no avail. Yesterday, Josh came to my desk to tell me that I need to dress better. Now, I work at a small company and the vibe is usually casual. A not insignificant number of people come to work wearing jeans, hoodies, t-shirts, or baseball caps. I have never worn a hat to work, and I make a point of wearing a button-up shirt with a collar every day. This particular day, I was wearing a long-sleeve shirt, button-up, flannel, chino pants, and Adidas Gazelles. Other days, I wear loafers and dress shirts that are tucked in. So I asked Josh to clarify. Should I be wearing dress shoes, a dress shirt, tucked in? What specifically do you want me to change? Josh tells me that I should just dress better and that I should talk to HR for clarification. So I go into HR and I ask, what is the dress code? I get a pretty standard answer though. Pants, closed-toed shoes, no sleeveless shirts, etc. I ask, have I ever worn anything to work that poses a problem? HR said, no, you're fine. Because I'm mad and because my repeated efforts to resolve this kind of problem have gone unheeded, I decided to be petty. The next day, which is today, I showed up to work in a full suit. It's one that I keep for events like weddings, so it's fitted and I look really sharp in it. It's also wildly and conspicuously overdressed for the office that I work in. I had several interactions with people coming to my desk to comment on my outfit and ask what the occasion was. Now, when anyone asked, and only if they asked, I told them that I had been told to dress, quote, better. This was always met with disbelief and incredulity. 2 people even said that they liked the way I dressed normally. When anyone asked me who the order came from, again, and only if they asked, I told them that it came from Josh. I was expecting to pull my little stunt for maybe a week just to prove a point, and then go back to wearing what I had been wearing before. Word got out around the office fast, and apparently because the CEO, Josh's direct boss, came to my desk later in the day to tell me that I would be reporting to him now, and that he'd be having a talk with Josh about this and other issues. It's important to note that I was Josh's only underling, so he effectively went from being a supervisor to just a regular employee. Now I'm on a bit of a high now. I think I'm going to come into work tomorrow wearing a different one of my flannels. OP, that's a really nice change of pace that someone in like higher management actually noticed an issue and actually proactively took care of it. That doesn't very often happen. So I'm happy for you. And, that's just ridiculous. This guy clearly had a problem with you and only you for some reason, and clearly tried to single you out and try to be a butthole to you for no reason. So congratulations on getting your revenge, OP. Our next Reddit post is from Obvious Secretary 151, titled "Show Up 30 Minutes Early?" Sure, Dave, as long as you do too. For context, I'm a 15-year-old and I work as a soccer referee. I will normally arrive 10 to 15 minutes early to a game, which is plenty of time to check in players for both teams and make sure that the field is in proper playing condition. One game I showed up to as an assistant referee. My center ref, who was an 18-year-old, let's call him Dave, told me that all refs have to arrive 30 minutes early to every game. Now, I know this is not true, but I stayed silent. We ref the game as usual and returned to where we put our stuff at the end of the game. Dave told me that because I didn't arrive 30 minutes early, he would mark that I didn't show up, basically telling me that I wouldn't get paid for the game that we just worked. I complained that this was a rule that he made up. He left the game without saying anything else, figuring that would be all. Note, if you referee without any assistant refs, you get paid like $5 more, and I think this was Dave's plan. When I got home, I made sure to sign up to be center referee at every game where Dave was an assistant referee. Poor Dave showed up to his next game 15 minutes early, which is absolutely unacceptable. I said nothing the entire game, but only marked him absent, which means that he wouldn't get paid. This went on for a week and a half until his paycheck came in, and it was about $120 off of what his total should have been. I did make sure every game that Dave was less than 30 minutes early to mark him off. Dave emails one of the main referees who runs everything to see what the problem was. One of the main referees, let's call him John, told Dave that he wasn't there so he wouldn't get paid. Dave put two and two together and realized what I did. Emails were sent between Dave, John, and I until John had the full story. Dave was fired for making up rules, and I got paid for the first game with Dave. Moral of the story, don't take advantage of young people. Take that, Dave. It's really nice to see that even at 15, you've already learned to stand up for yourself when it comes to the workplace. So good for you, OP. And screw you, Dave. You are such a butthole. I guarantee you he was absolutely doing that just to try to cop that extra $5. Like, what a crappy thing to do to somebody. That was Reddit After Hours, bringing you r/MaliciousCompliance. Thank you all so much for listening. And if you like these stories, like and subscribe as we post a new Reddit video almost every single day.